religion, all words synonymous for conveying a deeper meaning, nay, a higher power. See, wars have been fought in bloodshed, all in the search of enlightenment. What about the word consciousness? What image does that conjure in your mind? Everything is by design. Your ability to identify in this space at this moment reaches far deeper than you can ever realize. I challenge you to shed the lining of self-doubt and enter the realm of your awareness. Welcome to the Thinker's Lounge.
Great, great, wonderful, wonderful. Glad to have you guys at the Thinkers Lounge. It's always a pleasure to invoke the word consciousness and spirituality and esoteric terms and ancient Kemetic terms and talking about scrolls and hyperglyphics and all this good stuff that we need to talk about at kids, We might not wasn't aware of it but now we do. I feel like where everybody is sort of getting like a mental tribe, if you will, of the people to be doers and living purpose-filled lives and knowing who they are. Well, wanted to even know really who they were. So Thinkers Lounge brings all this uh, synergy in the spiritual realm to connect some great minds, spirits. Really don't do the meat suits that well. We really see more spirit, and we all have a divine purpose and a talent and a gift to bring. So I have a special guest today. She has a few names. I want to say the first one, and she can say the AKA as well. Um, this is Julie Roshen. How you doing, Julie?
So you want to say my
Yes, yes,
AKA
yes,
is my AKA is Ari Mini
yeah.
Ma'at Ra. That's a Kemetic
Wow.
name. Yes.
Say that one more time. Say it one more
Okay.
time. I
It's
gotta write this.
Ari Mini
Say,
Ma'at Ra.
uh-huh. Oh, right. So, and what is that in? Is that in was that the Hebrew? Is that
It's a Kemetic name. Yes, it's a Kemetic name that has meaning, and I have to live by that name. It carries an energy and it carries a power as long as I live out that name.
mm, wow.
Yeah.
So, of course, I know the names has definitely a meaning to it. Would you a little bit about that?
Yeah, so mine is, the fiery one who cultivates balance in the life force. Okay. And that has to do with
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
energies that govern my spirit. So for me, cultivating balance in the life force, I have a tendency to be really affected by the electromagnetic energy. It's that psychic energy.
Right.
And so it could
Right.
pull you
Right.
all over the place, emotions and people thinking, because I can hear people's thoughts. And a lot of us can, but I'm affected by
Right.
it more. And sometimes,
Right.
I think that their thoughts are my thoughts, and then it can kind of take me all over the place. So
I
I've
love the
had to
way this is
learn,
going. I love
yeah, I've had to learn how to control my emotions and not be pulled by these energies, you know?
Right. Right.
Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
I have to
Mm-hmm.
balance
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it's for me. I think that my gift is my discernment, and I've always, no matter how bad I still, it's the way I see the God in the person.
Yeah,
And I sort of made it. I don't have like it's like a nurturing mastery that I see God in the person, and regardless of some hiccups and things go on, I still zero in. Sometimes a lot of people don't deserve it. Some people come back, and I'm like, okay, let's do it. But I know that if it comes back and I still the same way, that it's meant to be. So you
right.
just, you have to love on people and be very empathetic and, and bring that type of energy. But I'm so blessed. This you're actually and no discontent or nothing, but of course you're the first queen female on my show. So I
Okay.
want to just say, all right, yeah, you were,
Yeah,
and
congratulations to me.
yeah, I mean, and of course, it's just a few people that I wanted to line with. Just I wouldn't think I just wound up being two or three mil, but I wanted to make sure I get something uh, from a more of a divine spirit, especially from a black queen that sort of absorbs and looks at the spirit the way we really needs to look at. And I think I had already put out there that, well, I have it, I will now, that I actually had asked you for some type of reading, and she just, it was like a text and sent it back through me. And I felt like, I mean, it was like, it was so on time. No, seriously. Time. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Cause it was, she really made me do some self inventory on myself. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, okay. This is what's going on. Real talk.
yeah.
Okay. I got you. I got you. So I definitely said, once I get the things around, going, I'm on the show. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I'm
And
glad to hear.
yeah, absolutely. So you're actually from was it Los Angeles? Is that correct? California?
Actually, I'm from Oakland, California, from the Bay Area.
Oh, California. Okay, Bay
Yeah,
Area. All right.
the
I
Bay
can't get that
Area.
wrong.
No, can't get that wrong.
Bay Area.
Yeah.
Oh no, can't get that wrong. Yeah, and so you're more so on the East Coast now, right?
Yes, I live in New
You're in
York
the
now.
New York area.
Yes.
Okay, great, great, absolutely. That's good. That's good. So I just want to, I mean, I think I was raised by some strong black women. I always felt that, our women, I'm going to pick on our queens right now because this is just where we are right now with this
Right.
because that's what I saw. I saw strong women. Women for me, uh, uh, physical, verbal abuse from loved ones and from other people, and they were still multifaceted and brave enough to raise men
Right.
and to really, take this world on from a different perspective. They didn't have a choice. So,
Right.
with a lot of things that have happened, I would say that comes your way because you deal with behavior, and you use the ancient Kemetic sciences, and that's what I love because I feel like everything has a science, and more to that. I think we'll be more solution based. Um, how would you more so look at from women's perspective at this time? What would make them more connected? What would clear their energy? And what have you personally that when you became conscious or you start doing research on yourself, how did that happen for you as a woman?
Okay. So as a woman, I had to really connect back to that feminine energy. I
Mm-hmm.
had to, and that really entails meditation. you know
Mm-hmm.
Meditation
Okay.
really connects you back to nature, because like you said, you were around a lot of strong women, and being fiery, being that yang energy, it actually burns up a woman's uterus. That's why you get like a
Wow.
lot of women who have they get those fibroids and things like that. It attacks
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
uterus. We don't understand when we carry all this strong energy and we become angry and upset. We need to be cool like water. you know and so being able
Right.
to
Right.
sit
Right.
down, and meditate and just calm. I
Mm-hmm.
do understand, because I'm a single parent. The father is
Mm-hmm.
involved,
Mm-hmm.
and I know what it's like to be on a man's head. I know
Right,
it's,
right, right.
but
Mhm,
it takes a lot of energy out of us. It takes a lot, you
mhm,
know. So we have to be able to take that feminine energy back, and we don't have to be yang all the time. Um, let's go like into our natal personality. Some of us naturally are fiery people. In my teachings, I'm actually
mhm.
considered a warrior energy. That's a part of like
Oh,
who I
wow.
am. I'm a boss. I tell people what to
Right.
do. But at the same time, there's a balance. You got to have a balance. You can't
Yeah, yeah.
always be on
Mhm,
somebody's head. You got to be able to sit
mhm.
down
Right.
and meditate, you know and
Meditate, right.
connect
Mhm,
back to your breathing. That's really
mhm,
important. And so,
mhm,
when we talk about, when we, with the ancient teachings, for me, I study the spirit. That's what our ancient ancestors did. They studied the spirit.
there you
It's
go.
a holistic
Mhm,
approach. So when you
right.
understand the spirit, you understand that everything that you have learned in this lifetime, and maybe if you believe in past lives, you bring that with you in this lifetime. So let's just talk about, if
Mm,
let's just talk about this lifetime, right? And I was
mhm,
raised by a fiery mother. Maybe she was always arguing with me and always on my head. I'm putting that in a
mhm,
container into my subconscious.
mhm,
That is how I learn,
mhm.
right? And so what we
Right.
have to start
Mhm,
doing now is we have to relearn, okay? And so in order
mhm,
to relearn, we
mhm.
have to meditate. A lot of people, they meditate, and they just meditate on, just breathing, or maybe walking by the ocean and things like that. But we don't understand the power of imagination. So when we talk about
Wow.
reprogramming, it's really sitting down and seeing yourself calm. Right? You say your man is getting
Wow.
say your man is getting on your nerves, or you got about 5 kids
Mhm,
running around. You need to be able to sit
mhm.
down and see your kids running around going crazy, and you are just sitting there imagining yourself in trance, and that everything is okay, because we have to start reprogramming ourselves. That is where the answer is.
Wow. That is so powerful. That is so powerful. I'm telling you, it's just, and I've did it to myself where like I'm, very, you know, uh, high metabolism, just always going,
Right.
and always been a seeker for knowledge. I mean, I've went from here and there, from been from a Mason to Sunni to, and people are like, well, why were you like? Oh, well, it was just I found myself reading, and I think I went further than what I thought I did on each one.
Okay.
I'm a you know, and so sort of I don't want someone to tell me about it. I'd like to have that experience, you know, and
Yes.
so it's a lot of, I'm a different type. I have to, and I've had good times and had joyous times. I've been in the military and done all that. And I think that a lot of times it comes with being well traveled. It opens your mind up going into other country and living there from 17, 18, 19 years old. Those are very impressionable years, you know, out
Right.
on your own,
Yeah, of course.
good money, you know. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm very, always have been, of course, the metast, beyond, and so I really I can go there, and I love it. I've always wanted to learn more about the anti-Kemetic because I know that's where everything pretty much started.
Right.
And so with that, I mean, could you tell us more so when you said, and it was a little profound, and I want to hear it again.
Okay.
You spoke about you were more so in the shadow. Can you expound that a little more, working
Yeah.
in the shadows?
Right. Exactly. What's so funny? It was literally, I think maybe it was about 3 months ago. I really didn't consider, I didn't call myself like a shadow worker, right? And so an ancestor came to
Right.
my dream, and the
Mm-hmm.
ancestor shined a light in the dark, and it says when you shine a light in the dark, you see it and its shadow. And I was like, wow.
Mm.
And so this was so funny
Wow.
because that same day I came home and the lights were out. The lights were out. And I had to light a candle on my kitchen table. And when I lit the candle on my
Wow.
kitchen at my kitchen table, I had a little plant. And when the little plant actually had a shadow on the wall. But what I noticed was is that everything around it was dark. But the thing was is that you can see the shadow, and the shadow was much bigger than the plant. So
Mm.
when I look at you, Marvin, okay, and it's daylight, I
Mm-hmm.
see you. I
Right.
see what you show
Right.
me. I see what you show me, right? But there's a
Mm-hmm.
part
Mm-hmm.
inside of you. It's a part of you that you don't want anybody to see because you may not even want to see it yourself. Okay.
Wow.
And so I have
Mm-hmm.
to
Right. Right.
dig deep into people, and people have to be honest and tell me the truth. If they're doing
Tell you the
drugs,
truth, 'cause you
if
don't
they're
see it.
drinking,
Right.
because I can only
Mm-hmm.
help people that want to be helped, you know?
Right.
And
Right.
that
Mm-hmm. Right.
shadow part, actually it deals with the moon. Okay? Because the moon deals with your
Mm-hmm.
fears. So when you notice,
Mm.
if you ever follow Instagram or Facebook and people are posting like, oh, it's the new moon or it's the full moon,
Yeah.
this is the time where you're able to really reflect on, we
Mm-hmm.
should be doing this anyway. We should be doing this every single day, but we really can
Right.
reflect on that shadow part, you know, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
if
Mm-hmm.
you believe, people want to call it mystical or whatever, but really the moon can really
I love.
help you bring out, the moon can help you face those fears because it's all about the fears. And so what happens is
The
that you can get
fear.
a lot of messages in your dreams, right? So I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
get a little scientific here. Our the world is made up of 70% water, but so is our body.
Right.
The moon actually
Mm-hmm.
is a magnet to the water. You notice when it's a full moon, the waves, they get larger, right? And so
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what do
Right.
you think what do you if we're 70% water, what do you think the moon is doing to us?
Wow.
Right?
You
It's bring
already know.
you
Interesting.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
I used to
Mm-hmm.
be a bartender. And I always knew when it was a full moon. I was like, it's a full, because people just whoa,
We
like
come from everywhere. You're right. You're right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yep.
mean
Yep.
crazy, you know.
I saw it when I was in the Navy. When it would rain, the ship would be empty. So yeah, it's like that's when I really knew. It was like okay, from a different perspective anyway. But yeah,
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 so the shadow part going, I know
yeah,
I went on a tangent, but that shadow part is really, your fears, right? And then it deals with
right, right.
it deals with your personality, because your
Mm-hmm.
personality is not really you. You're not really your personality. And
Mm-hmm.
so people, they say, I'm an Aquarius, I'm a Sagittarius, I'm a Leo, these are all personalities that you come into this world with. But you don't necessarily have to
Mm-hmm.
claim the personality, because if you say, oh, well, I'm controlling because, I'm a Leo, then that means that you're giving that energy
Mm-hmm.
power, right? And what happens is
Wow.
that you say you're controlling, and so you control other people. Well,
Mm-hmm.
how does that affect other people? So that's the
Mm-hmm.
shadowy part. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
have to dig deeper, and that's how you start to master the self, and get down to
The
the
self.
true self. It's like you got to strip
Mm-hmm.
everything
Wow.
away so you can become renewed, in a sense.
Renewed.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something. With what age was it that you knew that it was a little bit more than, the Wednesday or Sunday school and the church? It was it was like more of, um, you were more of a magnet to some to more in depth information or knowledge about yourself. What age did that happen? That like the light came on a little bit.
I was actually I was 20 years old when I consider when I had like my first awakening. I still had a lot to learn,
Mm-hmm.
but I had my first awakening
Yeah.
because what happened was there was a point in my life, honestly, that I wasn't sure if I believed in God. I just wasn't sure. And someone had asked me, "Do you believe in God?" And I just said, and nobody ever asked me that before. And he asked me that, and he said, because I don't talk to people that don't believe in God. And I was like, wow, do I even know what God is? And the
Mm-hmm.
reason why I had that kind of thought was because I went to this show. It was called Heaven's Gates, Hell's Flames. And I went twice. And I think I was
Mm-hmm.
around 19 years old. I went two times. And I just couldn't understand
Mm-hmm.
that, if I accept Jesus Christ, if I do not accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, that I would go to hell. And it was because of the picture that they had shown. It was a situation. I always tell people
Mm-hmm.
this it was this little clip that happened. And the mother and the daughter, they were riding in their car, and the
Mm-hmm.
daughter said to the mother, "Hey mom, how come, you don't accept, how come you don't go to church, or you need to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior." And so basically,
Right.
she said, "Well, honey, I'm busy and I don't have time. I got to work, and like, I'm trying to take care of you." And they got into a car crash. Needless to say, they ended up in purgatory. Okay, they were in purgatory, and
Mm-hmm.
the devil comes out from the side of the stage and gets the mom, takes the mom. And then the daughter goes up to the
Mm-hmm.
steps and she says, "It's my name in the book of life," you know, and then she goes to heaven. And I was just like, I don't get it. It didn't move me. It just didn't move
Right.
me.
Right. Right.
It was kind of scary, and I didn't understand it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so when I
Mm-hmm.
was when I turned 20, I was for myself able to see the difference between nature and man-made. I just had this huge epiphany,
Mm-hmm. Right.
and I was able to see the
Right.
difference,
Right.
between, the cemented roads and then the actual nature of a tree, you know. And I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
wait, that's
Mm-hmm.
God. Nature is God. So that was kind
Mm-hmm.
of like, my
There you
awakening,
go. Right.
you know. And then at that
Mm-hmm.
point, I started asking God, I wanted to know what my purpose was. Please, please let me know what my purpose
Right.
is,
There you
because,
go.
um,
That's where I was at. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and I'm glad because see, for me, a lot of people is you know not coming from more of a biblical standpoint because I'm a scholar. I've submerged and jumped into more of almost on a strict level. I'm not about the letters behind the name, but getting into metaphysics, I would pretty much say it's not out there, but I would call myself more of a metaphysical historian. And it's because of the books and the profound knowledge that I've, submersed myself. I just say that because my mentor always told me, he said, if you're supposed to be so hard and have so much money, just do me one thing. And I was like, what? He said, just make sure that your library is bigger than your kitchen.
okay,
you know,
okay,
and with that being said, feeding your mind, and again, a lot of people read books and they still, don't do the work.
right,
But I'm one of them that books that I read the work, you know,
right,
and
absolutely,
but because yeah, for me, you know, I've sort of put the books down, and now I'm just letting it, spirit just work through me for the most part, just being able to
right,
come out and do the things I always wanted to do. and everything is in freedom and ease now. You
Right.
know, but yeah, so what I'm doing with the Thinkers Lounge. This is something that I love to do. I was, been able to talk to beautiful kindred spirits all over the world, and a deep conversation about, stuff that we love and we want to share, and
Yes.
what people want to get, connected to. So,
Right.
so the thing is, I wanted to know a little bit more too, because I had this wrote down. Now, when it comes to more of, we say behavior, are you more come from like someone is, like you said, if they're angry, or maybe they're drugs. So is certain behavior that you just get on the other side of the curtain and let them know why, that this is why they're actually doing this. Not about what you're doing, but this is really why you're doing it. Is that pretty much what it is?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. If I do,
Okay.
mhm. So,
No, go ahead.
okay, yeah. So there's like two parts to me. There's a part where my 9 to 5 job where I work with people who have very severe behavioral, issues, and they really do have to seek help, with a licensed professional, and take the medication and things like that. And even then, have to, I used to kind of baby them a little bit, because I said it's not their fault. It's not their fault. And I had to really learn that everybody is here for a reason, and people have to learn the consequences of their behavior. So that's
Right.
one fold. Then there's the other person who they're very capable. They are very capable. However, just going back to like your natal personality, and also these energies that are governing your spirit, a lot of people don't understand the energies that really govern them. And so if I do a
Mm-hmm.
spiritual reading for you, I'm going to give you those energies and help you understand why things are really challenging for you. So like you said, someone
Mm-hmm.
being very
Mm-hmm.
angry or oppositional, they may have a very warrior like energy, very combative all the time, wanting to argue all the time. And what will happen is
Mm-hmm.
that they'll find themselves always in situations where they will always have an opponent. They will always have somebody debating
Right.
them, because
Wow.
it's what they need to learn. It's what they need to learn. And actually, what they really need to learn is not to be so oppositional. They need to learn how to
Mm-hmm.
tame, that wild energy within them. So yeah, so I
Mm-hmm.
so and then let's go on the opposite end. It may be someone who has like a very um let's see, watery personality. It may be like a cancer personality. Someone who is very, who could
Mm-hmm.
be, if they are not cultivating themselves and working on themselves, they could be
Mm-hmm.
very emotional. They're always crying,
Mm-hmm.
and sad and depressed and fearful. And they maybe need to
Mm-hmm.
learn, how to be a little bit more, um, you know, fiery a little bit, just a little bit. And
Mm-hmm.
understand
Right. Right. Right.
that
Right.
they're not their emotions. Or they may need to learn
Mm-hmm.
how to accept, you know, what God gave them. We all come here with gifts. We all come here
Mm-hmm.
ready to be on stage, you know? Like
Right.
we
Right.
really do
Exactly.
have a
Exactly. I
story,
love that.
you
Yeah.
know?
No. I mean, I love it. It's like you're hitting spots. Is talking to you is almost like I'm sitting in your office. Like you're really like speaking to my spirit. So I know everybody that's watching this show is love stuff. And definitely, I want to make sure. I'm going to actually go into a break real quick, but I also want to ask anybody for any comments that I can make sure to ask Joy. or anything that we might need to bring up just to make sure that she can actually respond, or anything else. Any call to actions or websites? I definitely want to make sure. Can you tell me your website real quick, Julie?
Yes, it's themagictreetrunk.com.
Okay, okay, and
Themagictreetrunk.com.
the magictreetrunk.com.
Yes.
Great. And definitely. And what's your IG tag?
It's Divine Magic 33.
Hmm. Okay, great. Great. Of course, I have it, but I just to put it out there. Um, but we're going to take a minute break. We're going to actually have a couple commercials and different things, and show a few sponsorships that's going to be coming up. But other than Julie, we're going to read right back with you. Give us about minutes,
Okay.
and we'll come right back in with about two more questions and close
Okay.
out. Okay.
All right. Absolutely.
All right. All right. Bye bye.
Bye.
Welcome back to the Thinkers Lounge. Guys, this thing happens every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Sharp. We'll go live on Meta Marvin's. Hopefully next week we'll definitely be able to have this thing going on and having all the episodes up on metamarvin.com. And so, guys, this is the Thinkers Lounge. This is where we dwell. We call it the shadows, and the other things that we don't really pay attention to: energy, frequency. A lot of things. That knowing what it even looks like to be close to a vortex, or understanding what this crystal means, and just a lot of different things that you have to know that you're connected to. So I'm so happy to have Julie tonight. Like I said, it's my first, of course, female guest, queen guest on the show, and I'm really enjoying it. And I think that we did have a few comments or questions that might have came through,
Oh.
and okay, all right, which one? Yeah. So, how long have you actually been doing like more of the, I would say, the counseling, or having clients, if you will, like I guess doing it as a business or whatever you call it, or so be it. That was one of the questions. Wanted to just know how long you've been doing this.
Okay. So I actually just started to get my business up off the ground because, I have an 18-year experience, working with the mental health population. And I currently am a
Mm-hmm.
director for a New York State Medicaid program where we work with people who, live in
Wow.
disenfranchised communities, and they
I know.
suffer from, chronic diseases such as diabetes and high blood pressure, so I found
Mm-hmm.
myself as a director, really taking on as a director, I am a leader, and taking on that leadership role for my supervisors, to work with their staff and then work with the communities. And so I work with a lot of personalities because we have over, I mean, we've well over 5,000 clients, within the time
Mm-hmm.
of me working
Wow.
within this particular program. And so
Mm-hmm.
you see a lot of energies clashing between clients and between the staff, and then staff between staff. And so what happened was is that
Mm-hmm.
because I do have the spiritual practice that I use on myself, I have
Mm-hmm.
been able to use these techniques with my staff, and I found myself counseling a lot. I found myself doing a lot of counseling, and I just
Mm-hmm.
realized that because I did so much work on myself, that's where the intuitive part comes in at. Because when you do a lot of work on
Right.
yourself, you know, once you know
Mm-hmm.
yourself, you can figure out a lot of people. And once you understand the spirit, you can understand people,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so
Right. Right.
I realized that, a lot more people were coming to me, and they felt comfortable talking to me, and I was able to really dig deep within them, and take that shadowy
Mm.
part I was able to see, as opposed
Right.
to them, because a lot of people like to place blame on other people. Oh, it's their fault. It's their fault. They did that to me and they made me feel. And so I always had to really go deep and say, maybe this situation is happening to you for a reason. You know, what is it about you,
Mm.
that that needs to learn something from this person? Because I used to always think about, and this might be wrong, but I know people do it, like, why is this person even living? I know that's so harsh, because they're so mean and they're so
Right.
vile, right? But guess what, we need those
Mm.
people. We need the antithesis in our lives, because the antithesis
Wow.
is going to teach you
Mm.
something. And don't think that the antithesis can't give you something that you need later on down the in the long run. I've had people who were my antithesis I end up getting jobs because of them. You see what I'm saying? So everybody
Wow.
serves a
Mm-hmm.
purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Serve a
that is
purpose.
so
Right.
I've been counseling for 20 years, and it's
Right.
been
Right.
10 years
Right.
that I've started incorporating the spiritual part, because I've been doing so much work on myself that, once you do the work, people just kind of naturally come to you, and they just say, you
That's
should be my
true.
counselor.
Yeah, you're
And
right.
that's
You're right.
right. So I
Yeah.
didn't ask for it. It was just something that when you do the work, your purpose will be
Yeah.
revealed.
Mhm.
But you got to do the work.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, you got to do the work. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. And I know it was just for me. I was just trying. I knew that a lot of people come to me and they, my spirit is like, let's go, let's go. You can do it. The God in you. I was always invoking, opening up people's eyes and go for it. And, I'm always just broke paradigms and everything that I've done in some type of way, it wasn't done before. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not too proud. I can say that because hard work and tears behind it. When people like, there's no way that could happen. I'm like, okay,
Right.
watch me. And with persistence and just doing it my way. There's a lot of times, we look in predecessor people's like, well, because sometimes, when I read my book, I might want to sit out on the porch, listen to the water, and smoke a cigar. And so I would always be more of, enjoying my cigar, reading, having my fruit, and just talking to God.
Right.
That was the way I chilled, the way I relaxed. But I was always fearful of oh wow, I got to go to the meeting, and again, I'm nothing against people out there, that whatever, but I just never wanted to feel that I wasn't coming from more of a churchy atmosphere. That's where I got my information, and the way I live mine was not about about how the pastor has to live a life. You know, give and share love. I meet people where they are. Not that I'm going to stay there, but I
Right.
will meet you where you are.
Right.
Fun to have a
Absolutely.
conversation. I can sort of, but at the end of the day, it comes from love energy. I have a deep sense of discernment, even when I can feel it coming from someone else. Just me. But at the end of the day, I always wanted to run across the information of, Julie, before this whole European experience, I'm just going to, since people of color have, they say we was here before, and a lot of these other different aspects, but, you know, looking at the moon, knowing how to build buildings, and the way we wrote and the way we spoke. How far are we actually really from the truth of how we used to live in the ancient Kemetic days? I mean, like, or do you think that? I'll put it twofold. How far are we? Do you see it come back? Like, are people sort of waking up these days, starting to see?
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, based on my practices, and I can get into that a little bit. I definitely think that we are far. We're pretty far, because people need instructions.
Mm-hmm.
They need to know what to do. And so, yes, people
Mm-hmm.
are waking up,
Right.
right? Like you said, not being like in the meat suit. Yeah, right. So people are waking up.
Yeah.
They're understanding that they're more, right, than just,
Mm-hmm.
there's more like there's more to life than just the material, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you
Right.
so right now there's a lot of misinformation, and then there's just a lot of, you know um people who are using sorcery. They're using, the crystals, and it's very
Mm-hmm.
mainstream.
Yeah.
It's very
Right.
mainstream,
There you go.
and
Mm-hmm.
it people not necessarily can, in my personal opinion, it's hard to be able to relate, to people when, they're wearing all this different stuff, and they got the million rings on and the crystals. And I have
Right. Right.
nothing against that, because, I have my altar and I have my crystal there, and there's intention there, and there's a purpose. But it's still not giving you instruction. So, when I'm on IG and I'm reading, comments, and people who are like sorcerers, and they have the candles, and they do voodoo and hoodoo. You have people begging, please, please, like, do you have any more candles? Do you have this? And I really need help. Can you help me? And these are people who are
Mm-hmm.
begging for help. You know why? Because they're looking
Right.
for peace. That's what they want. They want
Wow.
peace. And so when you ask
Mm-hmm.
me how far are people away from peace, from their divinity, they're far
Right.
because they don't know who they are. And
Oh
and
wow.
who
Mm-hmm.
they are divine. But
Divine.
but
Right.
in my teachings, what I've learned to understand, based
Mm-hmm.
on, my own practice, is that if you go into meditation and you go into very deep trance, right? There's a place when you go into deep trance where you're like, when you come out of it, you're like, wait, what happened? How long was I out? You know? If you've ever been there, like maybe some people have, it's just,
Yeah.
you're like, where
I
was
have.
I? You know that when you do that, you
Yeah.
go back to
Yeah.
the source. You go back to the source when you did that. You went back to nothing, because we have to understand that is peace,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
So that is our
Yeah,
essential
that is.
nature. Our essential nature is peace.
Come on.
Okay.
Right.
And so we are very far from that because people don't know how to get there. So the holistic approach, there's a holistic approach to this, and that is that our ancient, Kemetic, our people, our ancestors, they understood the spirit. And the holistic part is, how can you have peace when you eat sugar, when you're drinking alcohol, when you're doing drugs? How can you have peace? How can you?
Right.
Okay. How can you have peace when your thoughts are negative? You're not thinking like a divine being. You're thinking like a human being who says, "Oh, I'm only human. I do it because that's what humans do." No, you're giving power to that part of yourself where essentially you have the control. So let me just explain, because the ancestors gave me the name for my business, and it's called the Magic Tree Trunk. And I was like, the Magic Tree Trunk. Why would the ancestors give me the name the Magic Tree Trunk? And it was really based on the fact that the core of you. So the core of you is your trunk. The core of you is the part of you that wills. You choose. Okay. You will, which is your thought process. I want to do this. But then after you want to do something, what do? You take action and you do it. People do a lot of thinking, but then they don't take action. And then the other part of your trunk is, because it's your core. This is what has to be strong. Okay, your thinking has to be strong. Your emotions have to be. You have to have a strong core, so you're not emotional. You have to take action, and it can't go against other people. Like, it just can't. It can't make people feel bad. You can't take from people and think that you're going to get something back good. So there's a holistic part. And how can you be at peace? How can you get gifts from heaven if you're so full of negative thoughts? You're always constantly imaging the negative things in your mind, right? So for instance, say I get in an argument with my man. All day, what do I do in my head? Oh, and he said this and he said that. And you're constantly reliving that argument. You're constantly reliving. That is your imagination reliving. And that goes even deeper to trauma. What do people do? Listen, I've been through a lot of things in my life, okay? I've been in a foster home. I've dealt with physical abuse, sexual abuse, you name it. Now, I could keep reliving that in my mind, remembering the time when this happened, remembering the time when that happened. But if God wants to use me as a vessel, I have to clean that out. You have to clean yourself out. Because how are you going to get benevolent gifts if you're still holding on to the past? So the thing is people ask, well, how do I do that? How do I reprogram myself? One of the best things that you do is, first of all, is repetition. You have to meditate. You have to go into the spirit, and you have to relive the situation and see it different. See yourself smiling. See yourself forgiving the person that did that to you. See yourself.
Right. I love it.
And this is something that doesn't happen overnight. Okay. So you asked the question, how far away are we from it? Our
Mm-hmm.
ancestors observed the winter solstice, okay? The winter
Mm-hmm.
solstice is between the dates of December 21st and December 25th. That is the darkest
Mm.
part of the year. Okay. If you think about it, what do? You plant a seed in the dirt and you cover it and you allow the dirt to do what it does in the dark, and then it germinates and then it comes out into the light. What are people doing through December 21st to the December 25th when you should be planting seeds in your spirit for the next year? What should you be doing? You should not be
Mm.
eating junk. You should not be running
Right.
around all over the place. You should have reflected already of the things that you did. Let me tell you something. I've been doing winter solstice. I've been observing the winter solstice for at least 8 years, and I'm still finding my shadows. I'm still finding them. 3 years ago,
Wow.
listen, 3 years
Wow.
ago, after 5 years of doing the winter solstice, 3 years ago, I realized that, wow, I seek validation from people. I need validation. When someone upset me, I needed to call somebody on the phone. Can you believe that so and so said it like this? And da 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 da. I needed validation. So guess what I had to do? I had to
Mm.
I had to reflect on that and go into the winter solstice during the darkest part of the year, and I had to ask God to forgive that part of me, that I don't need to seek
Mm.
validation from anybody at all. I'm
Right.
at
Right.
peace. I could be at peace with the situation. I don't have to. So I had to see myself. I think somebody upset me or something happened. I had to see myself not picking up that phone and calling somebody to say, hey, can you believe so and so did that and did this? There's
Mm-hmm.
layers to
Mm-hmm.
this, but you got to start somewhere. So when you ask
And
the
God, something.
question, how far away we are, we don't
Mm-hmm.
observe cycles. We don't observe nature. So we don't observe the winter
Wow.
solstice. We don't observe the spring equinox. We don't observe the
Mm-hmm.
summer solstice. We don't observe
Mm-hmm.
the fall equinox. So I would
Mm-hmm.
employ people watching this, just do your
Right.
research,
Right.
um
Right.
there is a lot.
Right.
It's a lot,
There is
but
a
we're
whole
not
lot. I'm telling you.
educated to learn the spirit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I tell people, I mean, everybody has their certain journey. I just, I'll tell people, I'm just doing my part the best that I know how,
Right.
and if I'm not the one that can bring it to you, I'm bringing a platform so you can sort of hear the people that I feel things that's interesting to me, and you might like what you hear. This is the Thinkers Lounge. This brings more of a cool way to talk while we would in an intimate space or room, and be able to just talk.
Right.
Um,
Yes.
and so now I think it's the time where people call it quarantine. Where I'm saying I'm in, like, this is the cocoon. This is good stuff.
Yes.
Um, yeah, this is good stuff. Um, so again, I mean, we're almost out of time. I'm just so elated and happy that I had you on the show. I mean, it was great. You did well. I
Thank
really appreciate
you.
what you brought to the table. I mean, it's just some things that is like right here in our face, and it's like, you really tap into, a lot of areas that people probably don't want to look at, and that's what they need to look
Yeah.
at. And yeah, so again, this is every Wednesday. I want to make sure, definitely, guys, go to MetaMarvin72 IG. Again, the website will be definitely pretty much in full fledged here soon, in the next week or two. MetaMarvin.com. Um, I'm also doing a funding credit podcast on Thursdays, which my profit business. I show businesses how to establish and get funding. I'm like more of a proprietary underwriter for banks and businesses. So I give a lot of banking secrets. I give away a lot of things that keep people, um, you know, understanding that you are money. You are, money is my own natural energy yield. It's what I say about myself. It's how I feel about myself. And it's what I bring to the table. And when we do a money exchange, that's our money energy. It's nothing to do with the green stuff, but it keeps the green stuff flowing pretty good. And you really get innate with your real self and who you are and have fun. And it's about freedom, guys. That's what this is really about, having fun and having freedom. And so, again, guys, this is your guy, Meta Marvin. Um, can't wait to talk to you guys. Got a big show coming up next week, 7 due to be continued. But today it was a special, special guest. Again, Queen, thank you so much for coming on board. Definitely love you to come back sometime soon.
Okay,
And
absolutely.
yes, absolutely. And any closing comments for yourself before we close out?
Yeah, sure. I just want to tell people, don't take we take life seriously, but don't take people too seriously. We have to come from a place of compassion,
Yes.
and understand we have these energies that we don't know how to control. And so when people are coming at you with all these different things, I tell people a lot, just see them as energy. And if they are in your life, if a person is in your life for a long-term time, just ask yourself,
Mm-hmm.
why is this person in my life, and what are they here to teach me? you
Here
want
to
you
teach
What
me.
are
Right,
they here to
right,
teach
right.
me?
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know
Yeah.
um and how does that, and when they teach me something, where peace is really about peace.
Mm-hmm.
um
Mm-hmm.
how is this person teaching me going to bring me to a place of peace where this person can be in front of me and it doesn't affect me, and they can be
Wow.
who they are, they can be in their space, they can be in their energy, and I'm okay with it because they don't
Mm.
affect me. So don't take people so seriously. And if you get this feeling, all this energy, 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 is because they're teaching you something. So don't just work on
Right,
yourself.
right, right. Absolutely. Well, I need to go ahead and cash app you now because I'm needing a session. Yeah, yeah, So, yeah, I'm a work in progress. I think
Me
everybody is. I
too.
think, yeah, our community definitely needs to go out and seek help and worship and this guidance is out here. Really, guys, it's some wonderful people that's God expressed and they're divine and they're here to teach us something. And it's people who are here to know how to be open to that. So, guys, again, I'm gonna close out with Thinkers Lounge. Julie, it's so great having you on again. I'll be talking to you soon, and watch your email. We'll be sending you a few things. And thanks for coming on board once again. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
All
having
right,
me. Such a pleasure.
all right, no problem. Bye bye.
Faith,
Bye.
spirituality, religion, all words synonymous for conveying a deeper meaning, nay, a higher power. See, wars have been fought, in bloodshed, all in the search of enlightenment. What about the word consciousness? What image does that conjure in your mind? Everything is by design. Your ability to identify in this space at this moment reaches far deeper than you can ever realize. I challenge you to shed the lining of self-doubt and enter the realm of your awareness. Welcome to the Thinkers Lounge.